staying with us. So, we always monitor social media to see stories that people post, talk about, that has enough talkability. And one of the videos that got our attention was one where a lady who had lost her husband was seen complaining bitterly about how her late husband's dry cleaner insisted that he was going to collect the money for the services rendered, even after knowing that his client, her husband, was late. Now, this stirred up conversations from different parts of the country. Some had the thought that it was insensitive of somebody to come forward to ask for a debt by somebody who's late. Others says it is just the right thing to do. Why would you want to hold on to a debt? The earlier the better. And there's various angles to this, but what are your own thoughts? Let's talk about it, because these things happen in families, in homes where widows or widowers are forced to pay a debt owed by their late spouse to different people. You can join the conversation on 081 0764 1679 090 241 63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. I know that there was a movie I had watched years ago. I'm not sure the name of the movie now, but a woman who was mourning her husband, and then while she was really sad, the family was around her, supporting her, and then I think somebody from the bank or somebody came into the house to say, her husband is in debt. I think that, so the house they're living in was going to be taken by the bank, the cars, everything. And suddenly she dried her tears. But the person I'm here crying over actually was a wicked person to put us in this kind of debt. So immediately she was upset, and at that moment she realized that, okay, she was now left in penury because this man who she has loved put her in that situation. So now someone will argue that in that movie that was it the right time for the bank to come forward? I mean, she was still mourning. At least you have given her time, because that was the issue. Why didn't you give her some time to adjust herself before you bring that kind of? But the bank said, listen, the money, it was time for us to take the money. We didn't know the man had died, but it was important. So we see things in different ways. How do you see it? Do you think it was insensitive for somebody who is being owed to ask for debt? Or is there a time frame? Is there a time when it's appropriate to make this kind of request? That's the conversation. Who would like to start? Okay.
Okay, so from the story, the example you gave, and the story itself that we're talking about, I think that if the difference between both is that for the company, the bank, it comes as, it's not an individual. So there is a corporate entity. Though the person who delivers that message will still get that funny look, like, not the right time. But when it is a personal conversation between the laundromat or the person you've had a relationship with, this person is a laundry person for many years, and the message the person receiving is getting immediately after the loss of someone they care about is the amount of money they owe. It screams insensitivity. It screams the idea of you might want to do a right thing. You can do the right thing at the wrong time. So for me, that feels like the wrong time to do the right thing. And very inappropriate. I don't want to be the one to deliver such a message. Even if I'm working for a corporation or a big entity, I don't want to be AMCON going to the house of somebody that is bereaved to say, sorry, we were thinking that this house we can still negotiate and get it paid for, but since the person has died, I'm so sorry, you have to leave the house. No, nobody wants to be in that position. And many people in Nigeria have found themselves there. Police officers have their families lose their lives on their job, and they hear stories that their families are taken out of the house when it happens. We must find the right way to deal with it, preferably after a grace period of like maybe 6 weeks or 3 months, and say, okay, we've given you the past 3 months for you to go through the mourning process, and then we are informing you of what has happened.
I don't want to forget this angle, this thought, because on this table we always talk about systems. On this table we talk about the fact that one of the things Nigeria lacks is a system that actually functions. Now, in this part of the world, if you are the bearer of that information, you're the bank worker, you say, the man just died. Your Nigerian sense will reverse your legs back to the bank. Ogao, maybe it's not a good time. Let us wait, because you just be very empathetic. But if you're in a system in a different country that actually works, you have nothing, you don't care about what's happened, who died, who not died. Your own job is to deliver this message. And it's your job, if you don't respond in 7 days, by closing down this house. That's a system that will function. So again, when you're talking, I'm talking about we always talk about systems in our country. So how do we infuse our Africanness or our cultural sensibilities to things like this that we can pack that for a second? But let me come to you, Chika. What are your thoughts on this issue? And then we...
This is a very tricky one. You know, death is something that is very touchy. It's something that impacts everyone, regardless of strata or walk of life. But just as you have said, and this is the truth of the matter, this conversation can be very contextual, and it is contextual because we are Nigerians. You know, regardless of how much systems we want, we are first Nigerians, and so when we're trying to employ and deploy systems, we will take and deploy systems that work for us based on cultural context. We cannot lose our essence of who we are as a people. And so while I get the fact that, for instance, that man, the deceased, might have had a direct debit that was actually mandated on his account to say, on this day, this amount will be deducted. For instance, just to give a case scenario. So are you saying because by chance the man died on that day, the direct debit which had been automated would not happen? We know that would have happened, and you know, no apologies to anyone. But on the flip side as well, I hear what Atokpa is saying. The laundromat business, it's a small business, you know, and the way the story has it, the owner of the business sent the young man to go pick up the money. The young man came back to him and said, look, the person who gets this cloth, you don't die. You say, hey, go and collect my money now. You know, so it can come off as a bit. I'm not saying they were family members or best of friends or they had a long-term standing working relationship. It could very well be like it was a very official relationship that they had. I mean, the deceased and the laundromat service provider. But then again, also, the woman made the argument for the fact that, okay, this service was not rendered to me personally. It was rendered to a family member. I probably had no idea that this contractual arrangement existed between you both. So, because she said, go to the go to the morgue, go and collect your money. So
let me put this scenario out there. Let's imagine I'm the laundromat owner, and my children just sent back home because I couldn't pay school fees. In fact, I'm having issues with revenue. People are owing me money. My kids are home crying. I couldn't give them food. And I know that, okay, today, this amount of money should come in. So you can take this money to school. So I have my own needs. Now I send my staff, who are those owing me? Where are they? This Lagbaja is saying, that list, go and get my money. And then I come back and say, oh, somebody passed. No, I'm trying to put a context
to it. What you just said, I wanted to just go for it to the fact that one appointment all of us have is that we're going to die. Yes. So we must, as in the context of Nigeria.
I understand. I'm trying to put a scenario of, we are seeing it from the woman's perspective where my husband just died. If you look at it from the perspective of the woman, the owner of the laundromat, he too has a need that these children are not dead, though. They are alive, but they are starving. They've been sent out of school. He also has a need. So where do we draw the lines? Let me come to you. What are your thoughts?
For this angle, because I used to, overthink the prophetic teaching that, you must clear the debt of the dead person. But with this example you're giving, imagine that at the time you were in need, I had taken some compromise of my own need to give you money, hoping that you pay it off later. And then maybe you intended not to, or you intended to, anyhow, but you died with this debt. You know the helplessness I'll be in, knowing I can never recover my money, and that need that I had to compromise is still there. I might never really be pleased with you. Babalaolu said something funnily one day when he fainted, and I was like, my shake for me, and you Do you understand? I was like, how can you say such a thing that your daughter will blame you that you didn't finish training her? And then just, in retrospect now, I'm thinking of this, because when I saw the video, my first response to the woman was, be grateful that somebody told you, because of the Islamic teaching, that a dead Muslim will not smell paradise and will be tried in the grave if he is indebted. So we are enjoined as Muslims to quickly clear the debt. And you see them at the burial. In fact, it was funny because when I commented, people started coming and say, in my religion too, in Christianity too, it is announced once and we bury quick. So it is announced immediately before the inheritance is given to deduct debt. Before anything is called the property of the real property of the dead person, debt deductions must happen.
So what if they don't have it?
No, then the property itself, whatever they took the loan to fund, must also
be formed.
And usually family members are even made to donate if for instance, it is taken for just a lifestyle thing. The person did not really invest it. It's not a bank loan or anything. Those of you that are his children are advised to now raise the money amongst yourself to, if you love him, for him to ascend the next life, because we believe in the afterlife. So that's the way it is taught. It's not something you rationalize. So when I saw the woman saying, go to the dead, I was like, no, you never loved this person. Okay, now, please play it backwards. My dad died. We were asking. Nobody came forward. And I saw him, because he's a scholar, he listed and put money in compartments for everybody he had promised. So he had promised a girl, I would fund your going back to your family in Ghana. The money was in an envelope, listed. The one, everybody listed. I was the one who came into his room and met everything listed like that. And the one he wanted to use to travel, BTA for traveling, my next, everything listed, named and kept. And so we did not have any problem. But we were sitting at the house 3 weeks past, not up to 3 weeks, and a stranger walks in. First person walks in, I was like, I heard Baba died though. Just totally strange to everybody in the house. But because the gate was wide open, people were visiting. He just sat in the parlor there for hours, looking at us strangely. He didn't say anything. Then another person came. He came with another student of my dad, and he says, Baba used to fund my businesses, so he gives me money to fund my businesses. And whenever I bring him, I will say, how's your business doing? If I say it's not doing well, we'll say, go back and reinvest. And the man was saying, I'm owing him because he never collected his money. And we're all looking at ourselves. My mother said, he would have waived it, waive it. Okay, if that person had come with a big money and we wanted to give us, I would say he should go, Abi. So it's the same thing. If he comes in and says Baba owes him, immediately, even before, because of the teaching, we're all looking, what do you have? Keep in case, just in case. You have to raise the money. So
when my mom died, I mean, I didn't know that I'm not a man who's a Muslim. And I don't want to bring any religious connotations into this conversation because everybody's different. But I know somebody, in fact, so he hasn't paid the debt, but he thought it was right for me to know. Their mother gave me this amount of money.
Yes.
I don't have the money yet, but I will pay it whenever. So today it hasn't been paid, though, but I am aware. He has disclosed to me that this is the amount of money that I'm owing your mother for it. So I get that angle. But the conversation I'd like us to understand is that why was this woman feeling like she was being
I don't agree with the woman's response at all. Okay. I do not believe that you know someone is owing money, because if you, especially in marriage, but even beyond marriage, family, you get the benefits when it is good. You will lick it together. Yes. If it is blood, you will take it together too.
That sense of oneness.
When the good comes, we all enjoy the largesse. When it is bad, we take it together because we are one family.
What are you saying?
I am of the opinion that if you owe money, you pay the money. I don't like the fact that it is immediately after the person's death, without regard for the soul of the deceased, that the debt is being asked for. That's my own opinion from what I saw. That the person came back. You heard the person. He said, "Go back and collect the money."
I think it was 3 days after.
And you went to request for money. They said this person has died.
Is there a timeline you think?
I feel like the response would have been back. We come back and commiserate with you after we have gone through the burial. Kindly, it is noted. Okay. The responsible thing is for the woman to say, "I'm so sorry. We're grieving right now. After we are done with this burial, we will pay."
May I decide?
But
wait,
I feel the conversation should not be that. Go and ask the dead person. Okay. It should not be that at all. It is inappropriate to do that. Own up the fact that your bereaved person, I mean, the person who you've lost, deceased person is owing a debt, and you that you are left alive will continue the legacy of that person in a positive way, not to disrespect the legacy of that person by saying they should go and ask the dead body for the money. Very inappropriate. And I spoke about this thing about when my mother-in-law died last year. I did my Money Monday and broke down preparing for the unforeseen.
Yes.
That putting your affairs in order is not because you're preparing to die. It's because you want to ensure that the people you are leaving behind will have peace of mind. So when you know, whatever your age, once you are above 40, even if you're in your 30s, once you have property, have order of this is what I have, this is what I'm owing, these are the people I'm owing money to. Have it written. It is organization. It will bring peace to those you have left behind. Having life insurance will bring peace to those you have left behind, because you might have debts that will show up and you don't have funds in your account to take care of it. Your life insurance can then support those you have left behind to be able to pay off all those things. So it's important that we take care of.
I wanted to disagree on, the timing, because that was what your objections were. So you agree that she should not feel entitled, but the timing. Now, in grief, whatever you delay, might just be continuously delayed. If, for instance, because the young boy scent came with his clothes. So it's like somebody delivering something and this, let's even say the accident just happened immediately and somebody brought goods that he had ordered to the house. Is his clothes, they have been washed and you keep it. It's his property. It's something you will give to his children. What you do is to take away any impediment to, to properly passing over.
Other family members.
It doesn't matter.
No, Nima. It's also a valid one.
We're looking at the simple ones because I love the fact that you mentioned it's not a bank loan when your first, because those are the complicated things. Those are the things that they have to come in to show you evidence of. Now the person comes in with the evidence that, we are finished washing. You don't die, you don't die. You don't die. You have told him the person is dead, but you come and take. The person is the one with the discretion to say, I let it go.
No, of course, but that's not...
You understand? It is not your... I think it takes a level of understanding to know that it's not in your grief that you blame the person coming with that information.
But we know that even grief in itself has stages, right? So when something terrible and unexpected happens, grief has stages. There's the part of the rude awakening and the shock. It's like 5 stages. I can't understand. So yes. So my point is, while it is true that sometimes you can make your life easier by dealing with something small really quickly and just say, oh yeah, go, let me focus on what is at hand. But also people react to grief differently. Some people are not even in the mental space to even deal with something like that. What I would also like to say is the fact that, when all is said and done, I'm only accountable or responsible for my own actions. So how many times have we seen where, we cannot control the actions of what people do? Sometimes our family members let us down in gravest of ways. I really have no control over that. The only thing I can do is control my own actions. And so the woman in this context can control her actions by saying, okay, do I have the money now? If I do, let me give it to him and let him go so I can focus on money, my husband, and just make her life easy. I'm just saying. I mean, because the deed has been done, she cannot undo what the laundromat person has done. What she can now do going forward is how she reacts and handles it. So
let me go on a short break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines for our callers to call in. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.